As at the top of all courses, you'll see your instructor announcements, Ask the Instructor, your course syllabus, prayer requests, student resources, and announcements. I try to remember to check the Ask the Instructor box every day, but just in case I would forget and you think she's not responded, please personally email me. And actually, personally emailing me is the quickest way to get hold of me. So there's all of that stuff, and I have already pulled up the candidate guide here for you to look at. And I'm not going to go through and read this to you, just to remind you that this is an overview of research and curriculum and related activities and strategies in the topic areas. So you're looking at methods and techniques that you can use to teach English speakers about other languages, including content-enriched instruction, and so on and so on. Disability service is the same. MVNU course policy is the same. Late assignment, the same as every course within education. Anything that is 1 day late is at least 10% off, unless you made an arrangements with the instructor beforehand for that. If you indeed have not made that arrangement on the last night of class, it not just with myself, but it has to be done with the dean for it to be approved to get more time for that night. Online attendance, you have to be doing at least one thing online to be counted present. And you're expected to put in 15 to 16 hours per week in independent learning activity for this. Here are all the course objectives, the Ohio Language Proficiency Standards, and your OSCP and MVNU diversity standards. Our institutional goals are all the same in all of the courses here in education. Your required textbook is this Reading Essentials for English Language Learners Successful Transitions. Make sure you have that before the class starts because we'll be delving right into it. So all assignments are going to have a scoring rubric. It's either at the rubric section at the top of the page or in an explanation embedded with the assignment itself. What I believe I have done is taken every rubric that's in Moodle and put it in the week you need it as well. So I believe you'll find them both places now. So a big part of this course is developing a lesson plan designed for general classroom, but differentiated with English language learners in mind. So each week you're going to do a different part of the lesson plan, and then you'll submit it all when it's completed as a final lesson during week 7. And each week we'll have a different focus. And during that time, we're going to cover choosing standards, writing measurable objectives, using the LEP and content standards, the features of SIOP model, academic vocabulary instruction and assessment, formative and summative assessments, student self-evaluation, and strategies for instruction. This course has a total value of 500 points. Forums are worth a total of 120. You'll notice that weeks 1 to 4 are the same, and then weeks 5 and 8 are worth more. There's an explanation of scoring in the forum directions for both weeks 5 and 8, and you do not need to respond to a classmate on weeks 5 or 8. Here's your video introduction response for for the first week, 8 points. And here are your lesson plans, each portion of it, and it all turns into one lesson plan. You'll have a journal article review that is due on week 6 is worth 100 points, and we'll go over that as we get closer. We have 2 case study reflections, one on week 3 and 5, for a total of 60 points each. And one other thing about this course is that all the assignments are listed in the order that they need to be completed, because what will happen is you'll get the background knowledge that you need from the earlier assignments to complete the last one. I've got all of the assignments listed here under your course schedule. It's easy enough to print this off if you would like. They're also listed under each week separately. But if you're like me, you kind of want to have a good look ahead to see what's coming. So that's really it there for going over the syllabus. Let's look now at the GPS student resources. You have the virtual bookstore and Smart Thinking online tutoring as well. There's also a slew of student resources listed right there. So for this course, you're going to have your Ohio English Language Proficiency Standards, which I'm not going to go into any great detail, but the link is right there for it. Your Ohio State Teaching Standards, the Ohio Content Standards, the MVNU Diversity Standards, and additional videos are right here. So you might say, why do we have Ohio State Teaching Standards and Ohio English Language Proficiency Standards? Because those standards exist for English language. It's not just the Ohio State Teaching Standards, it's also the EL standards or proficiency standards. You'll see me references a lot as LEP. Okay, we're looking at week 1 now. At the assignments you have to do, they're all laid out for you right here, along with the due dates. We're going to go ahead and go in this way, and then you'll see the week 1, the assignments, how to write measurable objectives, not only have I given you not only have given you that narrative of it, but I've also given you an excellent video to watch on YouTube for that. So I highly encourage you to look carefully at that. Writing measurable objectives is something that even veteran teachers sometimes struggle with. So in addition to being able to write the measurable objective, you need to be able to know what a good list of measurable verbs are. And here is a good list of them. Now this particular list was generated through Bloom's. There are others that are around now. It doesn't make any difference. It's just the idea of knowing that there's some good tools out there that you can use to develop those. Okay, so here are your resources we just went over. The last one here is our discussion forum rubric. And there it is, 250 to 500 word range for your initial post. And the response has to be at least 150. And don't forget, you need APA citation in there as well. Please print this out and keep it nearby so when you're writing your forum information that you have it there close by. Okay, let's take a minute and look at week 3. We've looked at our resources. Now let's look at our assignments. As we mentioned before, initial discussion forum must be posted by Tuesday with response by Friday. And the video instruction, introduce yourself, is due on Wednesday. And you'll need to read what to do first on the video and then creating a welcoming ELL classroom. And then your response questions are due by Saturday. Here is a lesson plan example. We'll be starting each week, as we said earlier, to do a portion of that lesson plan. So here's what the first one will look like. And you'll notice that I have this one complete, so you have a good example. This one is for kindergarten, and the theme is living versus non-living. The essential question or central idea is for students to be able to differentiate between living and non-living things. And here you'll notice are my English language proficiency standards and my content standards. For example, my LEP standards are K to 5, it's standard 5 with prompting and support from adults. Recall information from experience or use information from a provided source to answer a question. Excuse me. And then for the content area, it's life science, and this person has listed all 3 of them. Notice the measurable objectives. The measurable objective ties in both the LEP standard and the content standard. The language standard is students will be able to answer questions related to living and non-living things with a 90% accuracy. And the content objective is given a pile of living things and non-living objects. The students will sort them out into 2 different piles with 100% accuracy. Now the rest of what you see on here is just looking what the whole thing looks like for different weeks, and it tells you how many points each section is worth. For example, this portion for week 1 is 1, and so on. All right, so get rid of that. This is the rubric. And you'll see that basically the rubric is blank just with the number of points that each thing is worth. If I were you, I would begin with this blank rubric, keeping in mind that you've got that example there to look at too, but then you'll just be able to slot it in for each week, copy it, and send it over to me, and at the end you'll have it all together.